The Lord be with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Luke. That very day, the first day of the week, 2 of Jesus' disciples were going to a village 7 miles from Jerusalem called Emmaus. And as they were conversing about all the things that had occurred, it happened that while they were conversing and debating, Jesus himself drew near and walked with them, but their eyes were prevented from recognizing him. He asked them, "What are you discussing as you walk along?" They stopped, looking downcast. One of them, named Cleopas, said to him in reply, "Are you the only visitor to Jerusalem who does not know of the things that have taken place in these days?" And he replied to them, "What sort of things?" They said to him, "The things that happened to Jesus the Nazarene, who was a prophet mighty in deed and word before God and all the people. How our chief priests and rulers both handed him over to a sentence of death and crucified him. But they were hoping that he would be the one to redeem Israel. And besides all this, it is now the 3rd day since this took place. Some women from our group, however, have astounded us. They were at the tomb early in the morning, but did not find his body. Then they came back and reported that they had indeed seen a vision of angels who announced that he was alive. Then some of those with us went to the tomb and found things just as the women had described, but him they did not see." He said to them, "Oh, how foolish you are! How slow of heart to believe all that the prophets spoke! Was it not necessary that the Christ should suffer these things and enter into his glory?" Then, beginning with Moses and the prophets, he interpreted to them what referred to him in all the scriptures. As they approached the village to which they were going, he gave the impression that he was going on farther. But they urged him, "Stay with us, for it is nearly evening and the day is almost over." So he went in to stay with them. And it happened that while he was with them at table, he took bread, said the blessing, broke it, and gave it to them. With that their eyes were opened and they recognized him, but he vanished from their sight. Then they said to each other, "Were not our hearts burning within us while he spoke to us on the way and opened the scriptures to us?" So they set out at once and returned to Jerusalem, where they found gathered together the 11 and those who were saying, "The Lord has truly been raised and has appeared to Simon." Then the 2 recounted what had taken place on the way, and how he was made known to them in the breaking of the bread. The Gospel of the Lord. Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ. I'm struck today with this notion of both seeing and not seeing, right? We started out with, in the first reading, when Peter and John go to the temple area and find this guy had been sitting by the gate there for a long time, begging for alms, and just this description of what they did. So it said, Peter looked intently at him, as did John, and said, "Look at us." And then the guy, it says, I don't know where it says it, but it says he looked at them. He looked right at them. So there was this, both eyes were open and they were looking at each other, right? And what happened? The miracle happened, right? There was an openness there. So fast forward to our gospel today. And so I get a kick out of a lot of this. One thing I just picked up here. I've noticed it before, but it just stands out. Okay, so these guys, they're bummed out, right? Jesus was crucified. They're peacing out. But they're still, they don't have a good excuse. He said that some women came to them and said, "Hey, the tomb's empty. And some of them are saying that he's been raised. And they're still peacing out. Like how much, if you were a follower and you got this news, wouldn't you be at least kind of hopeful and check it out and stick around, see what took place? No, they're out. They're gone. They don't, I don't know, they don't have the faith, I guess what it says. So that strikes me today, but it says, as Jesus walked with them, their eyes were prevented from recognizing him. So there's a closed eyes. They couldn't see him, and they're still walking away from Jesus, from Jerusalem. All that matters. After Jesus worked with them and whatnot, then it says their eyes were opened. Man, this openness, that's where I'm at today. You want to see Jesus? Be open. What does openness look like? It's faith. We walk by faith and not by sight, right? But that is the disposition to have, whether it's here in church or out there in the world, that openness to seeing Christ. And that's kind of vague. It's hard to put a visual on it necessarily, but I think of one disposition that it's not, and it's this one. Just not you, Mike. I'm not picking on you, bro. But that is sometimes our body language speaks to where we're at. You're sitting in mass all folded up. I'm not saying anyone here. I'm just saying I've done it. I've seen it. Our body language says something be open, eyes open, faith. Be open to what's in front of us. Allow the Lord to speak to us. That's where it's at. He speaks most intently here at the breaking of the bread. That's where the disciples saw him. St. Thomas Aquinas would say, Praesed fide supplementum sensum defectui. Faith will tell us Christ is present when our human senses fail. Right? So it's deep, right? So I just encourage all of us, that's where I'm at today. Hey, be open. Be open with the eyes of faith. And we'll encounter God. Yeah, here at the breaking the bread, but everywhere else. Let's be open.